Just 4 hours now until the swearing in. Good morning. At 8 o'clock on News 12 New Jersey, I'm Kurt Sieglin.
And I'm Carissa Lawson. We do appreciate you being with us this morning.
In just a few hours, Donald Trump becomes the 45th president of the United States. Hundreds of thousands will be there on the National Mall.
News 12 New Jersey's Katie Kairos is in Washington, D.C., blocks away from the National Mall, and there is a lot going on behind you, Katie.
Yes, we are here in the red zone where the streets have been shut down off the mall, getting ready for the inauguration. This is one of the security screenings. We saw a lot of red Make America Great Again hats on the train on the way in, but a lot of the subway stops have been shut down for security. This is one of the only open ones. It's right off this block, and as soon as we got off the subway stop, we saw this. There's a big protest going on. They've been chanting, "Not my president," and they've been chanting about standing with refugees, standing with immigrants, and standing with other minority groups and groups that they feel are being slighted. They have this banner and they progress down to this gate, and now they're doing their chant down here. So I think so far we're seeing a very big protest presence. Of course, we did see a lot of supporters coming in, and we know that a lot from the New Jersey Gala last night are coming out today, and they're very excited for the inauguration. But even though there is a protest march tomorrow, we are seeing some protest groups down here already, and they do plan to be out here all day. Now, I just felt the first raindrops here, so we're going to have to see how that affects turnout. We know the D.C. Homeland Security is expecting 800 to 900,000 people for the inauguration today, and we don't know how much of that number includes protesters, but we'll have to see as the day shakes out. In Washington, D.C., Katie Kairos, News 12 New Jersey.
Change of plans at the Women's March in Washington, with the entire planned route filled with hundreds of thousands of protesters. Organizers now can't lead a formal march to the White House. That's according to a D.C. official. And News 12 New Jersey's Katie Kairos has been following the protests from Washington and has more.
And I'm still proud you're marching.
Flooding the D.C. subway, they made their signs, put on their hats, and joined hundreds of thousands from across the country to converge on Washington for the Women's March. More than 300 buses made the trip from New Jersey before dawn.
Black Lives Matter! Black Lives Matter!
State Coordinator Caitlin Wilson was the first to pull the Garden State group together.
I woke up and there were 3,000 people that had responded, and now it's grown to over 13,000.
Well, some of the people who came for the march traveled thousands of miles to be here, but they have one more mile to go, and they say they're marching for many different reasons.
Mostly it was health care. I have a son who is disabled, so that was very important to me.
We got it all.
Many wore pink hats in reaction to President Trump's recorded comments to Access Hollywood that came out during the campaign.
This is not, for a lot of people, not being able to tolerate a person elected to the highest office in the world who has actually bragged about sexually assaulting women.
Real women don't kill babies, they love them.
A pro-life group protested the march, which took a pro-choice stance that some said was alienating.
I look at the signs that they're carrying. Do you see how offensive those signs are to some of us? So, it goes. That's what an open dialogue is all about, free speech is all about. So we just decided we wanted to come here today and present the other side of this march for what they call women's rights. I've got 3 daughters. I've got a wife. I believe women have equal rights.
News 12 New Jersey's Katie Kairos at the White House.
Well, this is, of course, the house that Governor Christie hoped to occupy at one point. Instead, he was here as a respected friend of President Trump for lunch. Now, the White House said this afternoon that the official topic of that meeting was drug abuse prevention, which, of course, Governor Christie has a number of initiatives that he's backing in New Jersey on that topic. We know the lunch lasted about an hour and a half because then President Trump had a scheduled resolution signing unrelated to his lunch with Governor Christie, and Governor Christie attended that meeting. So we don't know if that was planned in advance or not. But of course, political watchers are questioning whether Governor Christie was here for a meeting about his future. The governor arrived with his wife, Mary Pat, for lunch with the president. He seemed in good spirits. He says he was invited by President Trump a few days ago, and for all he knew, it was a social call, and he brushed off rumors.
There continues to be talk that you'd be the guy to go into the West Wing and kind of crack that whip.
Yeah, listen, I just don't see that. And as I said this Sunday on one of the shows, I guess on State of the Union, I said, my expectation is that I'm going to serve out the conclusion of my term here both as governor and on Ask the Governor. Leave office on January 18th of 2018 after 16 years and 1 day of service as both U.S. attorney and governor, and go to the private sector and help to support my family in a different way than I've been able to support them financially before. I never say never to anything, but I got to tell you, I just don't see it.
Okay.
Now, Governor Christie was at that public resolution signing after the lunch. We're waiting for confirmation on whether he has left the White House. President Trump has other meetings scheduled, and I can actually see to my left, although you can't right now, there's a Marine that comes outside the West Wing when the president is in the Oval Office. He currently is not out there. He's been going in and out. So we will have to see and get confirmation on whether Governor Christie is still at the White House at this point or not. At the White House, Katie Kairos, News 12, New Jersey.